If you follow the libraries mailing list and the other mailing lists that Mark has mentioned today, then you had a chance to observe all sorts of debates around the library's APIs. And there's usually a tension between doing it the right way, doing the right thing, and staying backwards competitive. And as a small side note, actually I suspect that this was at least the part of motivation behind the original avoid success at all cost motto. But now Simon seems to deny it, so anyway. Yeah, so what are we talking about? So some examples include badly made functions that reside in wrong modules, or even broken class hierarchies. So how do we fix it? On one hand, we want to fix it. On the other hand, that will break people's code, existing code, and people will complain. We don't want it, especially if we want to get industrial adoption and stuff like that. So my suggestion, actually not mine, it was original idea by Thomas, and the idea is pretty simple. We just write a tool that would allow automatically update existing code to match the new API. And this was inspired by a similar tool for the Go programming language. So there is already a precedent on that. An example scenario would be like this. So Brent Yorgi has this nice package called split, which provides many functions. There is one issue. There are several synonyms there. So functions that are named differently, but they do essentially the same thing. And some people think that this is a good thing. Other people think that this is a bad thing. Anyway, suppose that Brent decided to actually fix it and remove these synonyms, deprecate them. So what does he do? If he just removes the synonyms, then it will break people's code. So Brent, what does he do? He, well, in the ideal future, he writes down the description of changes he's going to make, such as rename setBy function everywhere to split on. Do this everywhere in people's code. And he writes this down into a file in some machine-readable format. And then what happens next depends on the code owners. Right? So if we have some library that depends on the split package, we have two cases. Either the maintainer of this library is responsible or not. So if the maintainer is responsible, what does she do? She downloads this hasfix, or suppose the file hasfix extension, so we call it hasfix file. So she downloads this file, which has this description of the changes, and she runs this hasfix tool with this hasfix file, which automatically fixes the code and replaces all occurrences of setBy with split on. Of course, it accounts for binding size. So, for example, if there's another package which exports setBy, it won't be removed. So, perfect. What if the other libraries, containers are not that responsible? Then there is another way to go. So it's a bit controversial, but at least we should consider it. So what can happen is when a user tries to install that library that depends on the old version of split package, and it's not upgraded, but we have, for example, only the new version of split available. Then what can happen is Cabal install can automatically download that hasfix file, and during the build phase, just automatically apply these fixes to the code, and user just doesn't notice anything. It just goes automatically, hopefully, of course. So that's pretty much it. This is very much work in progress. I started working on this just maybe 2 weeks ago. The goal of this talk is to ask for feedback at this very early stage. So what I'm looking for is, first of all, what kinds of change should we support in the first turn? What should we focus on? In which format should we specify these changes? What would be a nice format? Yep. And anything other that you're concerned about, you can express right now or just catch me later. And we're looking for feedback. And you can experiment with some code at GitHub. Currently it doesn't do much. It can rename some identifiers. It already fixes the layout if it's broken after the transformation. And I have to mention that what I've got during these 2 weeks is, if you look at it, it's pretty impressive, and it's possible thanks to Nicholas' library, which does some cool stuff. So it doesn't only have a parser, but it also has this exact pretty printer. So you can parse the source code and pretty print it to exactly the same representation, including like placement of parentheses, layouts, and stuff like that, even comments. So it's pretty cool. Thank you. And that's it. Thank you.